Hello gamers, welcome to another Honkai Star video. Today we're going to be talking about, well, the new relics, right? So yeah, before you be like, wait a minute, why is she up there? I'll explain it all, but for this video, we're going to talk about the new relics, how much of an impact they're going to have, because they're going to be really good to farm for general use and for most people. And in fact, you're probably going to be spending the next couple patches in this domain, not only for your current DPS, but also new DPS as they come out. We'll see what happens. But yeah, right off the bat, we have two relic sets that are very powerful. If you've seen them already, then that's great. If you haven't, let me show them to you. I gotta hold them up because apparently I didn't already do that. All right, here it is. I'm gonna hide my head a little bit just to read it real quickly. So we've got the first set, which is I'm honestly not even gonna pronounce this. I'm not gonna pronounce this. the set for Sunday, you know, the Sunday's a clothing, you know what I'm talking about. It increases the two-piece, increases your speed, which means we now have three two-piece speed sets, which means you can get a total of 16% speed across your relics, which is going to be huge for hitting certain speed thresholds. So this is going to be really cool. You'll have your Ting Yuns at like 200 plus speed now, right? So you get some pretty impressive stuff out there. And then a very strong four-piece of whenever you use a skill and ultimate on one ally target, it increases well, this is just a wording mishap, but it increases their crit damage by 18% for 2 turns, as if they can stack up to 2 times. So if you get repeated skill use or ult use on the same target, you'll get another stack of up to 36% crit damage. Very powerful. And this is a very good set for your support characters, or specifically 3 of them that we'll talk about in a second. And we have the other set, which is Scholar's Silver Rimmed Monocle, which increases your crit rate by 8%, which is huge, right? We finally have a crit-based 2-piece, and so this is going to be very universal for all your crit DPSs. And the 4-piece increases your skill and ultimate damage by 20%, and then after using ultimate, additionally increases your next skill's damage by 25%. So this set immediately screams to you Jing Liu, and it will now be your new best set, ranging from anywhere from 5 to like 10% damage increase. Again, paper math isn't everything, but considering how consistent the set is, I expect it to be generally a 10 or more damage percent increase over what Jing Liu currently has. So this is going to be great. Jing Liu has a lot of crit in her kit, and she is wrong list. And she's lacking a lot in damage percent for her teams. It's mainly just Bronya, and then typically people run Pella or like somebody else, but it depends on who you're using on the team, right? So getting damage percent for her is very nice. And again, right now, she doesn't really have a set dedicated for her, and so this is kind of dedicated for her. It is clear that's meant for another featured DPS, but this set is going to be really good for her, because right now her best is really just 2-piece, 2-piece. The 4-piece is like, not even a 0.5% better. But regardless, right now, like in comparison to my Jing Liu build, I compared it 1-to-1. It was like 10% after you use ultimate, but I didn't adjust for stats, so I'd expect for it to be way more than 10% if you do adjust for stats. So very good set for her in particular, which is why, you know, I've got her put up in the front here, because it's mainly targeting her. It's gonna be great for her and her team, because now you're gonna be able to give your Bronya more crit buffing by putting this new set on your Bronya, and because it's 2-piece speed, you can speed tune easily as well, right? So it's gonna be great for those support characters, and again, particularly Bronya, because now the fact that first off, Bronya, it lasts 2 turns, so it's gonna last for even if Jing Liu actions up again. Bronya is gonna constantly reactivate that, right? Like over and over again, because you're just gonna keep spamming skill. So Jing Liu is getting a massive buff in this regard by now that her teammate is now getting an actual set, right? Bronya is running a good set for her, and that Jing Liu herself is going to get a new set, right? So you're going to get a 10% from Jing Liu set, and you're going to get another 36 crit damage from Bronya's buffing, right? So massive buff for her in particular. This set's also going to be best in slot for Yangqing, because again, Yangqing doesn't really have much going on. He's in similar scenario to Jing Liu, where they don't have an ideal set. And so this is going to be a great option for them in particular, because you're now allowing you to get extra crit, which can allow you to get more attack and crit damage substats. And you're also going to get the damage and skill increases, right? So that's going to be huge for them specifically. Hold on one second. I'm going to adjust the audio just to do that. Yeah, so it's going to be great for them. Argenti finally gets another new set as well. I think this is going to be his best set because it's consistent and doesn't need ramp up. Also, he does appreciate the ult damage bonus as well, and the extra crit just means it's easier to build him, right? Since he already builds up crit regardless, right? It's just going to allow you to easily hit higher crits, and at least for him, having the constant skill damage bonus and then extra skill damage bonus after ult means you're going to be clearing waves and MSC faster on those crit builds, right? So that's really nice to see. Now I haven't seen anybody mention this, but the MC, it actually seems to be like a decent set for MC. Granted, the MC probably has better sets and who's using Physical Trailblazer. But I just thought it'd be worth mentioning that the Physical Trailblazer now has another option that's gonna give you increased skill damage, right? It's gonna be 12. You're gonna get increased skill damage here. And you're gonna get increased ultimate damage, which ultimate is gonna be the bulk of their damage, right? But yeah, again, you're gonna hit kind of hard, or at least harder on the MC. I don't know who's using physical MC, but they're getting a set that also works decently well, you know, for them as well. You can use it on Hook, you know, another DPS. I think Hook arguably is better on the, what is it, Dead Waters, right? The Acheron set. Because it's going to give you extra crit and the, you know, she has a chance to debuff, but this will be a decent set for her. Same thing goes with Serval. Serval, again, you can definitely argue Deep Waters, but if you've got a team without as many debuffs, or you're doing like a hyper carry Serval, for example, this set would be a very competitive option for her as well. And this goes for both of these characters. If you've got a team with less debuffs, like there's no Rome, or there's no debuff, or like no Gallagher, or whatever it may be, you'll have a consistent way to keep them buffed up, right? By giving them extra crit via, you know, one of the crit buffers, right? Or anybody who's targeting them. And of course, this set would just give them their damage bonuses that they wouldn't have elsewhere, right? Because the lightning set is very archaic. Basically, no one uses it anymore. And well, after this update, nobody's going to use the old lightning set. So yeah, again, very good for them. And nobody ever used the fire set in the first place, right? So yeah, all these 1.0 sets are characters that didn't really have, you know, dedicated sets are now going to get, you know, a nice little bonus there, right? Same thing goes for Arlen. Arlen, he primarily does the skill damage, and that's going to be good for him, especially because he, again, is going to be one of those characters who doesn't really have sets, right? If we just take a look at Pride One for a quick second. They recommend this, or hell, even the HP set, because it drains HP, right? But then you can see that just attack percent, and then this, like, this is going to get stomped on by the fact that you're going to get up to 45% skill damage, right? So yeah, huge buff for these, you know, characters that are a bit aged at this point, you could say. Nice for them. Again, so Shang is going to get an option for crit builds. I know there's a lot of people that run her break, but I just wanted to, you know, mention that. Zila, it has potential on as well, because you're going to be able to get it during your resurgence and get extra damage off. Again, a double skill 45% damage bonus. Very, very nice. Granted, it might not beat Quantum, especially if they're Quantum weak. You'll get the defense penetration, and if you've got, you know, characters like Silver Wolf, for example, on the team, who is stacking defense pin, obviously Quantum sets can be better, but this is going to be another option that can be pretty solid. Now, Fei Xiao's, I wouldn't use it on her. Let me just get out of the way, but technically you can, right? The crit rate's nice, and the fact that it does ultimate damage when bulk of her damage is ult, be really good. This will also increase her skill damage whenever you do skill. It's going to obviously drop her follow-up damage, but if we just quickly compare it to other sets, for example, it's not too far gone of what her best set is right now. And we already know Duke is really close. For example, Duke is going to be up to, like, what is it, 36% attack, if I'm not mistaken, and the 20% follow-up. And then her set, the Wind Soaring set, is going to give you the 12% attack, 6 crit, and then 36% ult damage after you do follow-up. This is going to give you 20% ult damage, 8 crit, and then 45% skill damage after you use your ult. So, like, your skill's going to hit a bit harder. So it's not going to be a bad option for her. It's just not going to be her best, right? So it's going to give you another option there. Again, you can take her off the list if you really want to. But, like, I'm just saying for reference. And that's kind of it. I wouldn't really use it on too many other characters because I think they've got better options. You can definitely use it on Dan Heng. Again, there's some 4-star DPS that no one's using, but it is an option. However, I do think Herta has a better option with Duke, right? And he could technically use Dead Waters, but again, it's more going to matter about the consistency with his debuff application, because he does apply, you know, slow, right? But again, that's here nor there. This is arguably going to be better than Dead Waters for him, just because it's consistent, permanent. So yeah, that's going to be good. DPS Pella, you use Dead Waters, but I thought I'd just mention it. Damage Pella is funny. So Shang, she's a basic attacker, so you don't really get anything. Again, break character, and we move on. None of these characters really benefit from it. If you were doing a crit, what's her name? A crit Yukong, Granted, I wouldn't do this, but like crit rate, right? And then 20% ult damage. You could do that. Nobody else here. I'm trying to think. Is there anybody else? You're a basic attacker. The best is follow-up damage. None of you do it. Well, if you did a non-break Shuehi, maybe, but I don't know why you did that. You're follow-up based, so and so on. Acheron could technically use it. She's going to be doing ult and skill damage only, right? So you can make use of it. It's not going to be as good as Dead Waters, because that's going to give you 12% and then another 24% crit damage and like an 8% crit rate. But it's going to be a very competitive option for her as well. Let me look. Is there anybody else? Nope. These are all break characters. You're a follow-up of basic attacker. You're a follow-up attacker. Nope. You're a follow-up attacker. Nope. You're break, and you are a hunt character. So yeah, that's basically the first set. Again, I do think it's a very competitive set. There's a lot of use for it. For the 4-piece, which is what I was looking at here, but the 2-piece can be used by anybody, right? 2-piece 8% crit is fantastic on anybody crit base, right? Dan, for example, you can use on him. You can replace your imaginary damage bonus, or you can replace your attack that you're running on this like 2-piece. I know a lot of people run 4-piece cowboy, but this is just an example, right? Himiko can run 2-piece, right? Your Clara can run 2-piece instead of what she's currently running, right? You know, so on and so on. Like any crit DPS, gonna be a very good set for that specifically. And as stated with Jing Liu, as for like Jing Liu, Yang King, Argenti, like all these characters up here, like all these ones, it's going to be like a 10% increase over what they currently have. So very, very good. It's probably going to be bigger increase for characters like Arlen because he's got nothing. But yeah, we're going to see a very nice gain for these characters up here. As for the other set, the support one, the one that's going to buff them by up to 36 crit damage. It is more limited on who can use it optimally. It technically can be used by healers as well, but in terms of optimal use, you're going to see this optimally used on Sparkle, Bronya, Tingyun, and then I just, not really Hanya, I just have her up there as for like, technically it's another way to give her a buff. But if we take a look at Sparkle, Sparkle currently with Wind set, if you've got her on like Dance and Dance, can be like 3 turns. And so if you are doing a high speed or like speed tuning thing, or 0 cycles and OC clears, this won't necessarily replace your Sparkle set. But for everybody who doesn't, and for people who are wanting to get her one set, stick it on her, be good, and you know, get a big damage per screenshot, this is going to be that set, right? Because it's going to give you the 2-piece speed, which is another universal set for most characters. Like as you know, like speed is like the name of the game, right? And so you now have a set that can buff speed on everybody for the second time to give you even more speed. Great for that. And then of course you get the crit buffing. Sparkle uses her skill every turn. You'll keep the buff up consistently on whoever you're buffing, right? So great for all those characters. Her ult isn't single target, so she doesn't actually do the buffing on the ult, but you know, it is that, right? Baronia, wait, does the buff target herself? Actually, hold on, I could be tripping. I don't remember. Does Sparkle's buff target herself, or is it like the party? I actually completely forgot. I'm pretty sure it's the party. Recovers risks wins in the team, grants Cypher for all eyes of Cypher. You know, look, point is, you get the idea, right? I'm pretty sure it's the team. If I'm wrong, you can tell me down below, but as far as I know, it's the team. Point is, good set for her. Bronya is the same thing. Bronya, I do know, does actually support the team. And of course, she'll be activating this on every skill use, so you'll keep this up consistently. As we all know, Bronya might be a bit rough on the skill points, but this is definitely going to be great for her specifically, because now she's got a good 4-piece that she can use to buff whatever DPS she is, you know, pulling back up. Tingyun now has another option, and arguably Tingyun's best option, because it's going to give you crit damage, which is going to add to her roster of things. You're getting attack, damage percent, crit damage, right? So she's going to be in line, honestly, with everybody else, right? Bronya already does crit attack damage percent. Sparkle does crit attack damage percent. So now Tingyun can buff crit as well while giving energy. So huge for her, right? We're getting another Tingyun who probably won't interact with her, but it's just worth noting that this does give her an option to actually buff crit that is going to be pretty nice in her. Hanya can only use this on ultimate. Her skill does not target an ally, so this will allow you to get an extra like 18% crit, because you're not going to have the best rotation on it. The best she can do is like a 3-turn ultimate, but 2 of the turns you're going to get some crit damage bonuses. Could be pretty good for certain 0 cycle clears if you do use Hanya, whatever it may be. Again, it just gives her another option. It is worth noting that Blade technically can use this set as well because his skill targets himself. I wouldn't do that, but I just thought it's worth noting. Other characters like March 7th can use it. I wouldn't use it on her because of how strong the defense sets are and how much they matter to defense characters. But, you know, it's here nor there. And anybody else who's going to target an ally like Natasha with her skill. Same thing with Gallagher with his skill. If you use Gallagher on a non-break team, this could be a good set for him. I'm not going to refarm him specifically, but it might be worth doing if you don't use him with break. All right, I'm just saying. Again, same thing for Luocha. Luocha is it's gonna allow him to buff crit with his auto skill, and of course his regular skill. He'll target an ally, whatever it may be. It should activate on his auto skill. It should, because look, I don't know because you're not actually pressing the button to target, but it should. Somebody on the creative server should test that. Yo, the music in the background's jamming. Anyways, yeah, of course there's links on her skill, right? So on and so on. Ho can't use it because she has double, AoE buffs, so that's unfortunate for her. Venturine cannot use it. MC can't, right? So on and so on. Oh, technically Jade can because her skill does buff one person. I wouldn't use it on Jade, but technically it can. And then March, sure, March can use it. Again, I wouldn't use it on her. And then so on and so on. So yeah, it's going to be a very good support set. Like, the main thing here is the 2-piece for all these characters. Again, 2-piece, universal, everybody can use it. But the 4-piece, it's going to be used ideally on these 3 and then maybe Anya. I know the 4-piece speed on her specifically is really good for, like getting your speed tuning up. But that's here nor there. Depends on what you're doing for your account, playstyle, whatever it may be. But yeah, I do recommend farming this for sure. Very, very powerful set. And it's going to be, again, both of them universal for your account, right? You're going to get a lot of value out of this. It's going to be good on, obviously, a new upcoming character, because otherwise they wouldn't just randomly put a skill damage set, in the actual, pool of things to summon for. Or, sorry, to grind for. And so on and so on. So yeah, tell me down below if you're hyped for these sets. I personally am, because it's buffing Jingliu and Bronya. That's huge. My Sparkle, I'm still going to run the Wind, because I'm trying to get 3 turns, cycle 0. It's a whole thing. But yeah, tell me down below if you're hyped for the sets, what you're looking forward to, future units, whatever it may be. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitch. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's it.